With having one of the best public transportation systems in the world for a very affordable price of 365 euros a year, owning a car in Vienna should be considered very wisely. Over the past 25 years, there has been a minor increase in new car registrations in Vienna. However, taking the population growth into consideration, there has actually been a decline, which is great news for the public transportation system and highlights the question if you really need a car in Vienna. For everyone who is new to our channel, we are Khyati and we have been living in Vienna for almost all our lives. We currently own a car and we actually have never lived without a car in Vienna, but to be honest, we often think about getting rid of our car and switching to public transportation. But why are we still owning a car? Let's try to get the bottom of this question. Our first point would be time. The public transportation network is huge and covers the majority of the city. However, there are still big parts of the city which don't have a good connection, and commuting becomes much more time intensive. If a car would save you a lot of commuting time, then maybe it's worth considering. In the end, time is money, and wasting time to save money is rarely a good idea. Commuting alone is not a big factor in our case, as we mostly work from home or have well-connected office locations. But driving to a doctor's appointment, driving to the post office or shopping mall becomes super time intensive without a car. Another aspect that needs to be considered is the parking situation. Even though Vienna looks quite cute in some pictures, it's still a big city with serious traffic and parking problems. Not only do you have to pay for parking fees, but also finding a parking spot under time pressure can become a very stressful situation. If you need to get to a certain appointment, you need to block additional time in case you cannot find a parking spot straight away, which is mostly the case. Therefore, sometimes ditching the car and using public transportation can be a better choice. This brings us to our next point: social life. If you have kids and want to maintain your social life with family and friends, having a car can be a blessing. Because after work, you have only limited time to still make it to your parents' or friends' place for dinner. In our case, we wouldn't be able to visit our friends or family after work during the week without a car. It would be so stressful, and we could only stay for less than an hour before we would have to head back again for kids' sleeping time. We're big fans of using public transportation with our kids, but mainly on weekends when we don't have any time pressure and can enjoy the ride as part of the experience, which Kian really loves. With this being said, with our current lifestyle, the next point plays a very big role: freedom. If you only use public transportation in Vienna, you're often confronted with limitations. Being spontaneous might become much more difficult, as you have to think about the first or the last train or bus all the time. For example, some buses in residential areas don't even operate on holidays or even weekends. Public transportation usually operates during the week only until midnight and then opens again at 5 a.m. in the morning, which means leaving the city and exploring the surroundings becomes much more complicated without a car. And you might end up spending more money to keep yourself entertained in the city instead of going for a hike in the forests of Vienna. Another very important factor in terms of freedom for us is the fact that with kids, a car quickly turns into a multi-purpose vehicle. Sometimes it becomes a nappy changing station. On other occasions, it serves as a quiet place for feeding babies. And of course, often it is the world's best sleeping aid for kids when they are in denial and refuse to nap. And because our car sometimes feels like our home on wheels, we will jump to our last point, which is privacy. Many people like the feeling of having privacy while commuting or traveling from A to B. In the end, a car is almost like your living room if you feel comfortable in it. Traveling and commuting gets less stressful because you're in a very familiar environment. Listening to music, making phone calls without sharing all the details publicly in a metro. Both of us used to work for companies on the other side of the city, and commuting was horrible. However, by owning a car, it felt less bad, even though most of the time we were stuck in traffic during rush hour. With that being said, Vienna is still definitely one of the cities where a car makes the least sense. However, it strongly depends on your lifestyle. As we have 2 kids now and therefore our priorities have changed, we would not be able to manage well without a car. However, you can for sure get around the city easily without a car. Don't lease or buy a car before trying out the public transportation first and weighing out the pros and cons for your own lifestyle. That's definitely our recommendation. So guys, we have reached the end of this video, and if you found it helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And let us know in the comments whether you prefer commuting by car or would you rather take the public transportation if it is available in the city you live in. See you guys in the next video. Bye!